Welcome everyone, we're about to watch a battle between Be'lakor playing Bretonnia and Crabbling playing the Forces of Chaos. In the forest here you can already see the Green Knight from Be'lakor being deployed and also the Damsel of Life. Earthblood, Regrowth, you know, standard stuff. And yeah, the fight immediately gets underway, so I'll go over the armies quickly. Mounted Yeoman Archers are skirmishing here. Are some Royal Hippogriff Knights. King Louen, pretty cool. Usually it's the Fey and Double Paladin. Of course, the inevitable peasant mobs who are just, you know, sort of deployed as road pebbles as usual. And quite interesting here, Be'lakor actually put them in this wide stretched formation. This is going to help them hold, so long as they don't get flanked, of course. If you're just fighting them from the front, and fewer guys are actually fighting, so it will limit the damage the unit is doing, but, you know, the damage is 0 anyway, with a peasant mob or close to it. So it's gonna help them hold longer, and that's a trick you can do with, you know, certain units. You'll cover less ground, but they will hold longer. And in the back, he has men-at-arms with polearms. Protecting a single trebuchet, there's also some regular men-at-arms. So a lot of the damage from this army will be coming from the mobile elements, of course. The infantry is really just there to give them something to work around. Now Crabbling, I've seen him win this matchup against Erwin Smith, or whatever name he goes by now, who is one of the best Bretonnian players. And I brought a similar army back then, actually as a Chaos Knight supported by Chaos Warhound with poison. And a front line of Marauders and Forsaken. Forsaken will just shred those Bretonnian peasants, but they're not as great against the cavalry. He has the Demon Spew Forsaken. Of course, are already getting targeted. Smart play by Be'lakor there. And then something rather common these days. The Exalted Heroes. You often see 2 of them. And you see Chaos going for air superiority builds these days. Saw Crabbling do it last qualifier as well, the Total War Masters Cup, where he took air superiority build against vampire counts. But yeah, that's a matchup where they try to do that sometimes, so they could shoot their fireballs, but this is a matchup where you wouldn't expect it, because normally Bretonnia has way superior air forces, and they may actually do, with Louen and the Royal Hippogriff Knights, but we'll have to see how that air fight pans out. Of course, Bretonnia, even if they feel like they're losing it or they don't want to take it, they can get support from their mounted yeomen and they can heal. So I'm not sure how well that fight is gonna go for Chaos. On the other flank, there's also a Chaos Knight. He opted to go for the regular Chaos Knights, who of course have very high stats, but much lower charge. But there must be a reason for that. I suppose you're expecting questing knights, and with them it's more about the grind and the charge. Yeah, it's very difficult to trade into questing knights, but there are no questing knights here. So Be'lakor feels very confident and sends in his Royal Hippogriff Knights and Louen, together with the Sword of Quran. And he's kind of spreading the damage, whereas Crabbling is trying to focus on these Royal Hippogriff Knights. One Exalted Hero is getting chunked down by Louen. So in these sorts of fights you probably want to focus your damage on one guy. You know, there's an argument for both sides, but let's look at what's happening over here. So Crabbling realizes he's under a lot of pressure. He may not win this air fight. Right now it's looking like he won't. So he has the right reaction. He just tries to press in and overwhelm the Bretonnian ground forces as quickly as possible. And Crabbling is definitely a player, if you just give him a little bit of opportunity, he will pounce on it, and he actually pounces on the Damsel of Life here. She's trapped and probably about to get killed by the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Metal, who will also be able to land here among his own knights, if he goes for that. Of course, landing is dangerous when there are enemy forces in the air. They can land on you, and that's really bad. But he may also get some protection from his forces. But with that being said, there's a Green Knight here as well. Oh, but look at the breath. Decent damage on the Green Knight, but actually a lot of damage on the Chaos Knights as well. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord dives down next to the Green Knight. May actually end up in a bit of a rough spot here, but he now tries to escape and uses Chaos Warhounds and Chaos Knights to hold down the Bretonnian forces, which works partially, but I don't think they'll be able to keep this surround closed. So the trap, meanwhile, got taken offline. Of course, this fight, like it's actually funny. I'm not paying so much attention over here, but that's really the deciding fight. Like, whoever comes out on top here will probably lose to the forces that are left from the fight over here, whichever side wins. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord wants to snack on the damsel, and Bellicor, ooh, he just moves her a little bit too late. And then she gets terrified, but she's still at the threshold where she will be back, I think. Yeah, her healing is just critical. She's been keeping these Royal Hippogriff Knights alive all game long. And normally, you see a different lore with Louen because he heals himself, but of course there's no reason you can't just, you know, take units you can heal and just heal them and let Louen rely on his own healing. Definitely a possibility. So Forsaken are chasing these Mounted Yeoman Archers. Yeah, Forsaken, they must have like more than 100 kills each, probably even more. Just shredding through the peasants, shredding through the polearms. The polearms, they are of course, well, cheaper than last patch, but that doesn't mean they will die less hard. These Forsaken. Yeah, this fight is still underway. I think that's a big final transmutation about to come in. Or is that? No, that is a final transmutation. Hitting the Hippogriff Knights, hitting Louen, and the Green Knight. So that's a lot of damage. You can see if the single entities take damage, the balance of power just shifts a lot. Ooh, Louen is on the ground. Is he going to get another breath on him? No, because the Hippogriff Knights, you can't see the icon here, but one of the Hippogriff Knights is actually in the air and was attacking this Chaos Sorcerer Lord, and he actually breaks and he gets out of there. Yeah, and now it looks like Louen will be able to chase him off. My god, that was sudden, and he bites him in the tail and he knocks him out of the sky, and that is bad. Because now you're looking at the Green Knight Terror unit, Louen the Terror unit, that's still healing. And no more magic damage on the field to kill him. Even though Chaos may win these engagements here with the infantry, it's kind of what I was saying earlier. If you can't kill these units, like if these units come out on top in that mobility engagement, there's very little the others can do. Especially with the Lord Ted. You can see 30 Chaos Knights, they have very high base leadership, 85 if I'm not mistaken. And they get terrified. You can definitely fight Louen in the right, under the right circumstances, but these are not the right circumstances. So Louen now consolidating with his infantry. Once you pull ahead on the balance of power this much, really the only way you lose is if you get some of your units isolated and yeah, lose them. So it's good to just regroup at that point. Because his whole army can no longer take on your whole army, right? It's only through isolated engagements that they can make a comeback at that point. There may be situations where you might want to spread. Like if the few forces the enemy has remaining are all ranged and they're kiting you or something. But generally it's true that once you have the big advantage, you kind of want to pull everything together. But Bellicor, he doesn't feel like he even needs to do that. Just sends their Hippogriff Knights in. There's still 5 of them. Only 1 has died. The Damsel has been doing such a good job. And Bellicor has been doing such a good job keeping them alive. But I think they're about to die here against these Chaos Knights. But Louen is just beast. I mean, we give a lot of praise to Louen, but really if you look at it, it's Beakis or whatever, however I'm supposed to pronounce that. His Hippogriff that's doing all the fighting. Hippogriff Knights, get out of here. And Louen, another Sword of Quran, that's such a good ability. I do love seeing me some Louen. The Fey Enchanters gets picked so much that we tend to forget how good Louen is. And I do get it why people pick the Fey Enchanters. He is probably the more competitive lord, but Louen is still very, very strong. I think we're seeing that here. And everything routes. Here we go. Yeah, this was a game from the Master of Bretonnia qualifier that I did for the Total War Masters League. That's still going on. And Bellicor actually played his first tournament and won his first game against Crabbling. Crabbling did end up winning the series. But yeah, coming into your first tournament and already taking a map of Crabbling, who has just been dominating that tournament series, is pretty strong. So I hope we'll see more of Bellicor later. Yeah, Louen, a lot of value. The Damsel, of course, the value was in the healing she did. The Green Knight is a bit of a surprising choice. It's a bit risky as well, but he went for it, and this time it paid off. The only source of magic damage was the Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Metal, and even though that guy got a lot of value, it wasn't enough to kill the Green Knight. And Green Knight, being an unbreakable unit, is just capable of tanking a lot of damage. And as long as he has 1 hit point, in theory, he can still do the same amount of damage and will not rout, so it's kinda safe in the end. Well, against this type of build. If there are more magic damage dealers, then it probably wouldn't be that safe. And yeah, these guys are the MVPs. We talk about Louen, we talk about the Damsel healing everything, or the Green Knight being difficult to kill, but these Royal Hippogriff Knights, if you support them with healing and keep their models alive, like Bellicor did really well, they can stack up so much value. Prep didn't do too much. The Exalted Heroes, I mean, I like the idea of them, but maybe in a different type of build where they could get some ground to air support. Because the problem with them is, even if they win the initial fight, whatever they're fighting will probably come back all healed up and kill them in the end. And that's kind of the problem with them. But maybe they were more picked in case of a Fae build where they could quickly go down and kill the Fae when she's in combat. Of course, there was no Fae. And the Forsaken, they did pretty well, but didn't get that much value simply because, well, they got shot by mounted yeomen and trebuchets, and then considering the circumstances, they still killed a lot of stuff, but it's just cheap stuff. But that's not enough to win the battle, of course. Yeah, Chaos Knight, not a bad unit, but difficult to support because there's no healing. And of course, the lack of armor piercing on them is often a problem as well. Okay, guys. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. If you want your own replays casted on the channel, check the description for a link to my Discord. You can put the replays there, and then I will put them on the YouTube channel if, you know, they're interesting enough, so do send in the good ones. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.